Hi, Gary Galka from DAS. In today's video, I'm going to explain how you open the APF-D processor and remove the SD card in the event that that card should ever fail. One of the things that we have seen since releasing this APF-D processor is about a 1% failure of the SanDisk SD card that's inserted. Now, the SD card that's inside the APF processor is used as a buffer. That's what allows you to rewind and pause and do all the cool things that the APF-D does. It's a memory card. But sometimes that card becomes corrupt. It doesn't last forever. So eventually, if you do need to change it out for whatever reason, this video will show you what to do. So let's get going.
If you get an SD card error here, and let me show you what an SD card error looks like. So if you turn on your APF-D device and you get that SD card error, here's what I want you to do. Remove 4 screws, Phillips screws, put them aside, lay the box down like this, turn off the power, gently lift it up on the left side and fold it over to the right side, like that. That gives you full accessibility to the circuit board and the wires and everything else. Now, this is a prototype, but yours would be exactly the same. The next thing you want to do is, this is the SD card slot, and that is the SD card inside the slot. The first thing you want to do, make sure that card is all the way in the slot. Now see, that was a little bit loose. So make sure it's all the way inserted. Then lift this up a little bit. Gently put it down and press the on button. If you get 4 flashes here and the display comes on, you know, I'm going to pause that for a minute. You know that it's now working properly. The other thing that can happen, and we've had it happen 3 or 4 times since we started selling these, is the SD card error will come on or there'll be a blank display. If that happens and you take this off and the card is inserted all the way and you cannot get it to come back on, then the next thing you're going to need to do is take it out. All right, so in order to take that out, let me show you what you have to do. We have an audio out plug here, comes through here, audio input plug that comes through here, and on the circuit board we have 3 standoffs, one here, and one here. Use your Phillips screwdriver and remove 1, 2, 3 screws. Be careful not to drop them down underneath the circuit board. The next thing you need to do, very carefully, to get this out, this has to be separated. These sidewalls have to be separated a little bit. Because I used the precision sizing of these sidewalls to actually help mount and hold the circuit board in securely. So that gets spread out and the board would get lifted up. So you want to be able to get these out of the holes. So now the board is popped up. Next thing you want to do is put your finger in there and take this card out. Now this is a SanDisk card. It's 16 megabyte. It's a very high-speed card. It's 170 megabytes per second. You can use a 90. If it's defective within the warranty period, I will replace it for you. But it would always be good to have 1 or 2 of these standing by. They typically don't go bad right away, but it's the type of thing that can fail over time. So you may want to keep it. Also check to make sure that the lock on the side is off. There's a little slide switch there. One locks it to protect the media, and then there's an unlock position so that you can use it and rewrite over it, okay? So that's how you get your SD card out. You want to put it back in, push it all the way in, put your board back into the case, make sure these are lined up with the holes properly. Put one in, like so. Then the other one you can push and push down and it pops right through the hole. Now that board, by all practical means and measures, is locked in nice and tight. But once you put that in, before we put the screws back in, let's flip it over and see if it comes on. The lights blinked twice, all 4 lights blinked twice, and the display came on. So it's good. Next thing you do is reinstall the 3 screws. If there are standoff washers underneath there, which there should be, make sure they don't fall down below because they'll rattle. Make sure they're in place on the standoffs before you put the screws in. Then very carefully fold this over, make sure your wires are tucked in. Oh, before I do all this, I want to point something out to you. This blue potentiometer. This is the master volume for your device. When we provide it to you, we adjust these. If you need a little more volume out of your device, you can make some adjustments here. But not too much, because then you get distortion and it makes the responses hard to interpret and understand. So we're going to tuck the wires back in, fold it over, put the top on, put your screws back in place, and the device is ready to go.